Hey, Long Guy Gamer here with a new review of something not many of you may have, but might remember back a few years ago. I'm talking about the Nintendo e-reader for the Game Boy Advance. Now, what the e-reader is a device that reads cards with barcodes and has a multiple of different uses. It's not a game, nor peripheral per se, but an add-on of sorts. But like other Nintendo peripherals and devices, this one had a short lifespan and was soon forgotten, at least here in North America. This isn't really a game review, but nevertheless, I'm going to review the e-reader and give my thoughts on this one-of-a-kind gaming device. First, I'll talk about the device itself. As you can see, it's kind of bulky and it's actually almost as large as a Game Boy Advance itself. You can put it into the Game Boy just like any other game, and you can use it for both the old Game Boy Advance model or the SP model. But the e-reader was clearly designed for the formal, as the cable link-up plug-in sticks out, which means you can't use the link-up if you use the e-reader on an SP model. You can also use the e-reader for the Game Boy player, which I'm obviously using to record the footage for it. Alright, let's get into the actual card use for the device. Let's start off with the game cards. These are a series of cards in which you scan and download a game into the e-reader, then play it. The game I got with my e-reader is Donkey Kong Jr. for the NES. There were other NES games in these card series too, like Balloon Fight and Excite Bike, among others. Now, in order to play these games, you must go to the e-reader menu and select Scan New Data. Then it prompts you to start scanning. In order to scan the cards, have the scan line face towards the Game Boy and slowly and steadily slide the card towards the right. If you swipe it too fast or erratic, it won't read. As you can see, I successfully scanned 1/10 of the game. Yes, you heard me right. 1/10. You have 5 cards to scan, and they have 2 barcodes each, so this might take a while.
Scanning of dot codes complete.
Sheesh, that took a while. I probably could have downloaded the game off of the Wii Virtual Console faster than this. But I digress. Let's get into the game. Well, it's Donkey Kong Jr., and there's not much to say, really. I do find this game kind of boring after a while, and some of the old school mechanics really throw me off. Like falling off the ropes to your death if you move too far over. So yeah, it's an alright for an old game, but it's not really my taste. Let's move on. This time we're going to play a Game & Watch game that came free with my e-reader like Donkey Kong Jr. I have almost all the Game & Watch games of the newer remakes series, so unlike Donkey Kong Jr., I know how to play these types of games pretty well. The only one I have is Manhole. Luckily, this game only takes 2 scans to get working. Anyway, Manhole is basically playing this guy trying to prevent oblivious pedestrians falling to their deaths from the holes in the bridges. Timing is everything in this game, and later on you need to be precise with your timing. Remember, the pedestrians move in increment movements, so you only need to place the manhole cover for a split second to save them. This game is okay too, but it gets really repetitive fast. I would personally recommend the Game Boy version instead, as it comes with a remake and other Game & Watch games too. The next game is, this. An e-card I got in an issue of Nintendo Power. Remember Foxbox? Well, in this blatant advertisement campaign, you get a free Kirby puzzle game. But then you'll notice that in order to play, you'll have to erase the previous data you scanned, because the e-reader can only store data from one application at a time. And if I ever wanted to play Donkey Kong Jr. again, I'll have to scan all those cards again. Ugh. So anyway, back to the Kirby game. It's one of those slide and title puzzle games that I kinda loathe in video games. However, let's give this a shot for the hell of it. So yeah, this is it. Captivating, isn't it? God, I love the annoying repetitive music too. Wow, 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 wow. Ugh. Well, for a free game, you could do worse, I suppose. And it's probably the rarest card in my e-card collection. Next, I'll talk about the cards I got with my e-reader that, well, I can't really use. There's these Pokemon cards, which can be used with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, but I stopped with the Pokemon games after Gold and Silver. Then I have a couple Animal Crossing cards. By using the connected GameCube and a Game Boy Advance GameCube cable, you can upload an NES link pattern, and, not sure what this one does. Scan this card, man. Yeah, well, I don't have Animal Crossing for the GameCube, man. Bite me, KK. Alright, the last thing I'm going to talk about for the e-reader is the Super Mario Bros. 3 e-cards. Super Mario Advance 4, aka Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Game Boy Advance, was one of the most utilized games for the e-reader. As you can see, the cards for Super Mario Bros. 3 take up about 90% of my e-cards, and it's actually the sole reason I bought an e-reader in the first place. Now, in order to use these cards, you'll need 2 Game Boy Advances, a Game Boy Advance link cable, and of course, the e-reader, cards, and a copy of Super Mario Advance 4. Yeah, I know this setup seems a bit complicated. Not everyone's going to have everything they have, but the results are worth it. Once you connected everything, go to your game and select the Scan Cards options with the L button. Then select Connect to Game Boy Advance in the e-reader menu. You know you're connected when the Lakitu travels to the other Game Boy. Once you're connected, you can scan your card. Let's start off with an item card. Hammer Brothers suit. Hell yeah! Once you scan it, the Lakitu will travel back to the other Game Boy again to indicate the item has been sent. Yeah, it's kind of cheating the game doing this, but if you have all the required stuff to do this in the first place, I say you deserve it. The other card option you can select in the main game is demo cards. These are pretty nifty. You scan the card and it shows you videos of level speedruns, where to get items, and all sorts of stuff. Pretty cool. The last card option you can use in this game is the card levels. This is essentially playing a separate game using scanned cards for the levels. Although it kind of forces you to go out and buy the card decks for the game to get all the levels, which I only got 2 out of the 3 sets that were out at the time. But nevertheless, it's still a unique way to play a Mario game in which you pick levels you want to play from scanning cards. And there's all sorts of levels varying in locations and difficulty. So overall, it's really fun to utilize all the features this game has to offer with the e-reader. Definitely worth the setup for. With that, this is basically all I can cover for the e-reader. Overall, I say it's okay. It's an interesting device, and those that like card collecting will like it. But at the same time, the whole card scanning thing is a bit arbitrary, as some of the games scanned you can play elsewhere. But Super Mario Advance 4's utilization makes up for it. And if you have this game along with 2 Game Boy Advances and a link cable, then I say the e-reader is worth it. It's too bad the e-reader was somewhat underutilized and overlooked here in North America. But at the same time, I can understand why no one really got into it that much. This is the Blonde Guy Gamer. Thank you for watching my review.